Hello everyone, welcome to a Tim Talk where I share my thoughts, opinions, and philosophies as someone who has been doing model aviation for over a decade and as someone who is a mechanical engineer. So today I wanted to chat about transmitters, specifically the Spektrum versus FrSky debate and also the difference between Hall effect and potentiometer gimbals. So I'm going to give some background and then we're going to get into the pros and cons, details, and personal experiences for all this. So I started off flying small helicopters and fixed wing airplanes, and I started on the cheapo transmitters that came with the ready to fly bundles, and I quickly upgraded to a Spektrum DX8, which served me well for a while, but I eventually wanted more features, so I upgraded again to the Spektrum DX8. And this is the first generation DX8. They are now on the third generation DX8, and I still use this first generation DX8 as my main transmitter. This kind of goes to show the whole philosophy of when buying a transmitter, you want to buy a transmitter that's going to last you a long time and will have enough features to basically allow you to grow in the hobby. Generally, this has got the job done for me, and I am not at the point where I feel like I need more features and I need to upgrade. So that's kind of the mindset you want to have when you are picking a new transmitter. Now I also have some experience with FrSky transmitters. This is the FrSky QX7 that we bought for a club, and I have gotten experience using this for the past 4 years. And I've also tried out a FrSky Taranis X9D. So I feel like I have enough experience with both brands to make this video. Now, something that I have observed is that when you go to a flying field where everyone is flying fixed wing or helicopters, you'll see a lot of Spektrum transmitters, quite a few Futabas, maybe a JR, maybe a Jetty if they're a real baller. You won't see very many FrSky transmitters, whereas if you look at the multi-rotor community, the FrSky transmitters are the most loved. They are regarded as the best. So that's just an observation I've had. Now let's go ahead and talk about the product lines for Spektrum and FrSky. Starting with Spektrum, they have the DX transmitters, which are basically the last generation transmitters from what I can tell, which are being replaced by the NX transmitters, which have some new Wi-Fi features and whatnot. And then there are the IX transmitters, which are top of the line, pretty expensive, lots of channels, and they basically have a touchscreen tablet built into them. For FrSky, there are the Taranis transmitters like the QX7 and the X9D, and those are the lowest end and the most affordable. There are the Horus and then the Tandem transmitters, which start to get really fancy, like the IX transmitters for Spektrum, and they also have basically a touchscreen tablet built into them. So for this discussion, I'm basing my thoughts off of the Taranis transmitters and the lower end Spektrum transmitters. Next thing I want to talk about are the ecosystems for each of these brands. So Spektrum is actually a sub-brand of Horizon Hobby, which has a bunch of different sub-brands, such as E-Flight, Blade, which I think is part of E-Flight now, Park Zone, Hangar 9, etc. And one of the things that Horizon Hobby has is the bind and fly ecosystem. So you can buy a bind and fly aircraft, pull it out of the box, it's already got a receiver installed and wired, and then you just bind it to your transmitter and you go fly. So you don't have to deal with installing the receiver, wiring everything up. Everything's just set up, ready to go. So that is a big pro for the Spektrum brand, especially if you are that park flyer type who just wants to buy a model and go fly. Now, FrSky doesn't really have an equivalent ecosystem. They do not have a bunch of sub-brands that create models that you can just go bind to your FrSky transmitter and go fly. There are some third-party brands that sell like drones that have a FrSky transmitter already installed, but it's really not on the same level that Spektrum has their ecosystem. Moving on to signal protocol and signal strength, FrSky wins this hands down. They are known to have one of the best 2.4 gigahertz protocols and just some of the best range for 2.4 gigahertz in the industry, if not the best in those areas. Spektrum is good, but not as good as FrSky. So I think this is why FrSky is so popular in the multi-rotor industry because, especially for FPV drones where you're going behind obstacles, you need that better signal penetration. FrSky is going to provide better than Spektrum can. However, I will note, if you really want the best signal, 2.4 gigahertz in general is not the way to go. You'll want to go with a UHF system like Dragon Link or Crossfire, something like that. Next up, let's talk about build quality. To me, Spektrum wins here pretty easily. Their fit and finish is better. They don't feel as cheap. The switches and the menu buttons especially feel a lot nicer than the FrSky transmitters that I've tried. Now, speaking of build quality, I want to share some of my negative experiences with both brands. So for Spektrum, I've had no negative experiences with either of my Spektrum transmitters. However, I did have a very negative experience with one of my Spektrum receivers. So this was a lower end Spektrum receiver, but it was still like $25. And I lost 2 balls of airplanes to it. First time I thought it was my cheap receiver power solution from Hobby King, but turns out that wasn't the case, which I learned when I lost the second airplane. So I am scarred from that experience. I will never use a Spektrum brand receiver again. Now I use like the Hobby King Orange RX receivers for my cheap foamies, and then I'll use LemonRX for everything else. And I really like LemonRX. They were actually offering diversity satellite receivers before Spektrum themselves were. So big fan of LemonRX, not a big fan of Spektrum brand receivers. Now with FrSky, I've had a few negative experiences, all with this transmitter right here. So we bought this $110 transmitter for a club, and it's had quite a few issues. So first of all, when we got this, I put the batteries in it, it wouldn't turn on. I took it apart, was looking for like a loose connection or something, didn't really find anything, but when I put it back together, it magically turned on. So that kind of intermittent issue does not give you a lot of confidence in the build quality of your transmitter. And then recently, when I was going to adjust the stick tension, I noticed that some of the through-hole connector solder joints had no solder on them. So that's really unacceptable. And then one of the gimbals went out before the first set of batteries died. That's how fast one of the gimbals failed. But this brings me to the whole Hall effect versus potentiometer gimbal debate. There's really nothing wrong with potentiometer gimbals, in my opinion. It's just that the FrSky potentiometer gimbals are terrible, and that's why I think there's a bit of misconception about potentiometer gimbals. I think a lot of people think you should just avoid them at all costs. Both of my Spektrum transmitters have way more flight time on them compared to this FrSky transmitter. They both have potentiometer gimbals. They both have had no issues. They center fine. Everything's good. However, Hall effect gimbals do have on-paper advantages. Potentiometers are basically variable resistors, and there are little wipers inside them that, they rub against each other. So there is mechanical wear, whereas Hall effect gimbals just sense the position of a magnet without any mechanical interface, without any mechanical friction, so they cannot really wear. And that's why they're better on paper. So yes, Hall effect gimbals are better on paper. However, potentiometer gimbals, if they're built well, will last a very long time, as evidenced by my Spektrum transmitters. Now, one problem I have with the FrSky Hall effect gimbals in particular is that they are not set up well. And what I mean by this is you cannot adjust the stick tension low enough, in my opinion. I have these at full soft, and they are still pretty stiff. My DX8 I do not have at full soft, and it is still easier to move the sticks than on the FrSky Hall effect gimbals. So in my opinion, the gimbals, whether they are potentiometer gimbals or Hall effect gimbals, they are not as good on the FrSky transmitters. Moving on to the features. FrSky wins in terms of features. This $110 transmitter has 16 channels, which is crazy, and the programming you can do with OpenTX is basically limitless. However, this brings me to the next point, user interface. The user interface on the FrSky transmitters, specifically the Taranis ones, with OpenTX is horrible, frankly. It's very hard to navigate, not very user-friendly. I suppose you would eventually get used to it, but the layout and ease of use of the Spektrum user interface is much better. And to me, this makes a lot of sense because FrSky put basically zero effort into their software. They just slapped an open source software in their transmitters, and that helps save costs, which is good, but you are sacrificing that more polished user interface, which Spektrum took the time to develop their own. So once again, FrSky has a way better feature set, way more channels, but their user interface isn't as good. Now, do you really need all of those features? Both softwares are set up so that if you're just a normal person flying any kind of normal aircraft, whether that be a multi-rotor, glider, powered airplane, helicopter, they all have the functions set up in them to handle those kinds of aircraft. Just whatever normal kind of aircraft you can throw at it, either brand can handle. It's just when you get into those less common scenarios where you need very specific functionality or a lot of channels, that's where FrSky shines. So I personally, with my DX8, the only feature I wish I had was one more flight mode for sailplanes. This older generation only has 4 flight modes for sailplanes. I wish I had one more. Now the newer generations actually do have one more. And another thing I wish this had was sliders on the sides, which would be nice for sailplanes as well, for adjusting the camber. So that's something that the X9D has at a much lower price. A recent improvement in the X9D that I saw while I was doing research for this video is that they actually copied the scroll wheel from Spektrum transmitters and put it on their transmitter. But the scroll wheel definitely is a lot easier to use than the old buttons they had on the previous version of the X9D. So that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover in this video. In summary, Spektrum tends to be a bit more expensive, but you get better build quality, a more usable software, and you get that bind and fly ecosystem. Whereas with FrSky, they're more budget friendly, they have a great signal protocol, and they have a lot of functionality and a lot of channels. So if you enjoyed this video or it was helpful to you, please give it a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And let me know down in the comments what your experiences have been with FrSky and Spektrum and Hall effect and potentiometer gimbals. If you're feeling extra generous, you can throw me a couple bucks on Patreon, and you can follow me on Instagram at timmy.r.c. Thanks for watching.